Sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and could even keep you from the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS. Welcome to the No BS Sales School podcast. I'm your host, Walker McKay. I'm going to talk to you today about how to quit your job and when the right time to do that is and how to do that and how not to do it. Because I've done it wrong a number of times. I've done it right a couple of times, and maybe I thought I'd share those ideas. But first, I want to thank all of you that have gone out and bought a copy of my book. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's Next? You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on my website at walkermckay.com. You can also find it if you're in Columbia, South Carolina. You can find it at All Good Books down in 5 Points on Hardin Street. So would love for you to buy the book. If you want to know more about what we do around here at the No BS Sales School, you want to know more about kind of the details of what it is that we train and teach, want to see if it might fit in your world, that's a good place to start. Cost you $20. Order the book, read the book, and if you like it, leave me a review on Amazon. If you hate it, well, shit, hate it to yourself. Give it to somebody else who might like it better. So I want to talk today. A lot of people are thinking about quitting their jobs, changing jobs, starting their own business, whatever, this time of year. Somehow it seems to be year end. And other times it's like June, July, right? Sometime in the halfway point of the year. And sometimes that could be tied to contracts. It could be tied to payouts. It could be tied to bonuses. And maybe it's just tied to shit, I need to do something different. This is driving me crazy, right? So my experience, I've been in 3 different industries over my last 35 years. And I've been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 9 jobs. 2 of those are working for myself. So I've done a lot of quitting, done a lot of leaving, done a lot of starting, done a lot of restarting, and I've learned a few things along the way. So first of all, my first piece of advice to anybody who is quitting their job, number 1, don't burn the bridge. Do not burn the bridge, at least not personally. Sometimes if you're picking up and leaving and you're going to work for a competitor, there might be some tension there. Maybe there will be some tension there. What I would tell you is do your best to be kind and be personable when you are leaving. I can't tell you this enough. You will be glad you did that, and you will never regret being kind on your way out the door. And a couple of things, right? When you go in to resign, chances are you're going to catch the person that you are going to resign to. You're going to catch them off guard. All right. You will catch them off guard. You will blow their mind. They will be stunned. And so when you go do this, I want you to understand that you're going to blow their mind. So here's how I would approach it if I were you, being straight up. I think I would begin with, I've got some really shitty news, or I've got something that's really going to be hard for you to hear, but I need to go ahead and tell it to you now. And I'm sorry, I'm about to ruin your day. Just tell them, put it out there, prepare them, give them 30 seconds, 10 seconds to begin to frame their mind around what the hell is going on, what in the world's going on, right? Let them think that through, and they're going to say, okay, what do you got? They may think that you just lit the building on fire, that you've stolen money, or that something horrible's happened, right? Well, it's almost as bad. You're leaving. What you hope they're going to think is, oh my God, this is terrible. I had this woman I used to work with a long time ago, a beautiful woman, and she was dating at the time. And she said, when you break up with somebody, you want her to be sad about it, but just not sad enough to bug you about it. So probably the same thing with your boss. You want the person you're resigning to, you want them to be sad. So the best time to leave is when you're doing well, right? And they would ask you to stay. Early on in my career, when I worked for a bank 500 years ago, and I was a branch manager, which could not have been a worse fit for me, for my ADHD and my arrogance and all the other things. I'd been there about 6 months. I was miserable. I wanted to quit. And my father said, how's it going? How are you doing? I said, Dad, I'm sucking at this. I got an audit I'm supposed to do. I'm no good at that. I hate this. And he said, so you're not winning. I was like, I'm not winning at all. He goes, stick around until you're winning. He goes, do the damn work. Make it so that if you do leave, they ask you to stay instead of saying, thank God he's gone. The reality was I just needed to settle down, do the work. It took, the 6 months to get up to speed, do what I needed to do. I still hated the job. And so then I left, right? So best time to leave is when they ask you to stay, right? When they don't want you to leave. When you go and say, hey, I got some really bad news and it's probably going to ruin your day. Take a breath, going, what? And you say, I'm leaving. I'm taking another job, right? You're going to be really nervous, right? And you're going to be really wound up. And just know that by warning them ahead of time, you've got bad news that allows you to settle in. I don't want you to deliver the news like it's really bad for both of you. And what I want you to understand is the next 30 seconds, they're going to be completely in their own head. They're going to wonder, oh shit, what's my boss going to say? How's this going to impact me? What do I need to do differently? Oh my God, do I have to hire somebody? What is the team going to say? All this is going through their mind, right? And so I want you to just be quiet. If they ask you where you're going and you're going to a competitor, you can say, I'm going to a competitor. Right? If you're going to do something different, you can say, I'm getting completely out of the business, or I'm going to take a different role, a different job, whatever. Just tell them. Now, if you're going to a competitor, things will probably get icy pretty fast. And what I want you to do, if they all of a sudden react emotionally, I want you to be comfortable saying, look, I know this is a big surprise and I know you got a lot to work out. I'm going to leave you here. I'm going to leave stuff here. I'm going to leave you right here to deal with this. And you and I can talk on the phone, 24 hours, whatever, 12 hours from now, come back later, whatever, and we can get the details sorted out, right? Be prepared for them to respond with emotion and allow them space to leave. You don't need to justify, defend, explain. You don't need to tell them how shitty their company is or how bad they were treated, how bad you were treated. You don't need to do any of that stuff. That will never help you. Never. It's a waste of your breath. It makes you sound like a shithead when you leave, right? Just say, it's just not the right place for me. It was time I moved on. I had to do something different. But you do not have to justify, defend, and explain. And I will tell you specifically, it will not help you if you do. You will not change anything by doing that. You're just a bitter jerk who's leaving. Just thank them for for taking care of you and tell them you've got a different opportunity. Do not respond to their emotional response. What you can say is, look, I know you need time to work things out. You can reach me by phone. I've got my computer here. Here's the things you're going to need from me. The keys are on the desk for the car, whatever. And get out of there as soon as possible. Let them work that stuff out. If you need to go gather all your things, say, look, I'll have this stuff together for you by 5:00 tonight. And here's what I'll do with it. Whatever that is, have that stuff taken care of and wrapped up. Before you go, you may want to go ahead and grab any information that you're going to need that will help you later on. If that is a client list, if that is things like that, have all that stuff done ahead of time. You might want to go ahead and get any of the files out of your computer that you want to get out of there and move them before you do this, because they're going to shut you down immediately. And who could blame them? Now, before you leave, you should also understand, if you have a non-compete, what that looks like and what that keeps you from doing or allows you to do. There are many different versions of this. All of your friends and people will say, oh, non-competes won't hold up. They won't hold up. And maybe they won't. I can tell you from experience, however, that if you have signed a non-compete, however, whether that happened as your contract, whether that happened last raise, whenever that happened, sure, it may not hold up, but here's the catch. I learned this the hard way. You will, if they come after you to uphold the non-compete, and they'll start with a nasty letter upon your resigning. If you decide to break it, while it may not hold up, you still have to defend yourself, which means you're going to have to hire an attorney at somewhere between $300 and $500 an hour. And if your company, some companies more litigious than others, they may recognize, I can't really make this, I can't make him stay. I don't want him to stay at this point, but I'm sure as hell going to run his bill up to $20,000 for him to leave. So just know your rights, know what your non-compete is. When people tell you it won't hold up, hey, that's fine, but you're still going to have to defend that it won't hold up. You may, if you have a non-compete, you may talk to the new company you're going with and say, hey, I've got a non-compete. Will you defend me in this? Right? Find out from them. They need to know that, by the way. There's something else called a non-solicit. You may have a non-solicit agreement, which means if you leave, you're not able to call on your current customers or any customers of the current firm. If you're going to a competitor for a period of time, 6 months, a year, these are fairly common. They will hold up, and you will have to defend that in court as well. So you make a business decision whether or not you want to move forward with those clients. Maybe you decide you do, and it's worth the risk. Maybe you decide you don't. Get your business up and running, you'll be able to go. Something else to recognize. You will think, when I leave here, if you're going to the same business, maybe you promised your new employer that, man, I've got 50 clients that love me. I'll be able to bring 100% of that business over to the new company. Well, let me give you a reality check. Maybe they love you, and maybe some will come over. I would suggest that at the end of 12 months, if you've had no non-compete and you could go after them at will, you've done a really nice job if you pick up 25% of the revenue. 25%. You would have crushed it. Your heart will be broken by so many people that say, nah, I'm good, when you tell them you've moved to a new firm. And they're going to say, nah, I'm good for now, because they want to see if you stick. They want to find out. They hired the old company, they hired you at the old company. Maybe eventually they'll come back to you, but probably no more than 25%. And probably by the end of the second year, maybe that number's 30 to 35%. I say this also to those of you who are hiring from your competitors, right? Just know that guy who promises, oh, I've been in the business forever, I got all these clients. Maybe 25% of his revenue will transfer. And maybe after 2 years, it'll get up to 30%. 35. Now, if you've had a non-compete for a year or 18 months, or a non-solicit for a year or 18 months, that number probably drops. I know it depends. I know they love you. I know you're great at what you do, but chances are, right, there's turnover in staff. They've got to get used to somebody else. Your old company maybe has stood up and said, we'll take care of it. Just be aware, going somewhere new, you're going to bring some people over, some will come right over, but many will wait or not move at all, or they've been waiting for you to leave, so now they can go somewhere else. I don't want you to get overexcited. I want you to be realistic about what's happening at your new company. When you go to call people, right, that you can now talk to, here's what I want you to say. People are going to say, oh, why did you move? I want you to say, I thought it would be a good way. I thought I'd be able to take care of clients like you better in this move. I see a whole lot more opportunities for y'all over here. I see a lot more ways we can help you. All right. Selling is always about your prospect. It's always about your client. It's never about you. So here's what I don't want to hear. I am so excited about this new opportunity. Nobody gives a shit. All you're doing, if you say, I'm so excited about this new opportunity, is you are just sending messages out in the world that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to convince myself I'm so excited about this opportunity because I'm scared to death. Now, that may be the truth. It's okay. Change is hard. New places are hard. But what I want you to say is, I feel like, I believe, I've seen that there are a whole lot more opportunities for me to help you over here. That's all you need to say, right? So as you think about making changes, understand that you are taking the problem with you. The problem being you. The same things you weren't very good at the old place are going to be the same things you're not very good at the new place. You do not get to snap your fingers and become perfect you. All your problems will not be solved. You're still taking your biggest problem, you, to the next place. So be realistic with yourself about the challenges you have now. Be realistic about the things that you're really good at and the things maybe that you need to work on in yourself. Changing jobs can be very helpful. I've done it a number of times, but you also understand that the weak point on this is always you, and you've got stuff you've got to address so that you can be a better version of you for the new company. Lots to think about. I have found in my life, and today, people do make job changes all the time. I don't think being a job hopper is as much of a negative as it used to be. I think because of the pandemic, because of other kinds of things, the way our life rolls these days, I bet that most people who are now in their 20s and maybe their 30s, you're not going to be in the same job probably 5 to 8 years from now. You may not be in the same career 10 years from now. The only thing we can count on is change. Know that's going to happen. Always be looking for an opportunity where you can make more money, learn more useful skills, and meet more people who can help you and you can help them along their journey. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. Be prepared before you leave your job. Don't be an asshole. Don't burn the bridge. Know your non-compete, non-solicit, and know that when you're going to a new company, you're taking the biggest problem along with you. Go buy my book. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Leave me a review on Amazon. And thank you so much. Share this with somebody who needs to hear it. Thanks for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast. If you're struggling to close deals, then I want to invite you to take my free mini course, where you'll learn the 7 most expensive sales mistakes that will cost you time, money, and credibility. So be sure to click the link in the show notes or go to www.7salesmistakes.com. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.